Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. So we've had a nice strong move to the upside here and we're talking about that possibility from this lower support box. Though, there's not enough here for us to get too confident yet. So we're going to dive into a couple of counts here and discuss a couple of things within these counts on key areas that we need to get above to sort of, secure the counts as well as what we need to be watching out for. Okay, so before I get into that though, just like I said, thanks for watching. If you're enjoying the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff here. So basically within this structure, what we're looking for is further evidence that we are heading up towards this zone here of this 20,092. So we're looking for this potential of this bigger white five-wave structure to play out. So this is still viable for as long as we remain above this lower range here of the 1611. We have also talked about in previous videos, there are other ways of counting this, so we need to be cautious. But for the most part, we are getting a reaction here. So we're going to discuss this move up and what this could mean. So if we are looking to actually progress up in this bigger white wave here, what I would want to see play out is basically I'd want to see something like this play out. And the way I'm currently looking at this move, we'd have to potentially count this as a diagonal into this as a 1, 2, and then looking for the fact that within this structure, we could actually be looking to form this fourth wave. There is always potential that within this could be extending out further and could look to push up above some of these targets. When it comes to this micro counting like this, we need to just be aware that, sometimes there are internal waves here that aren't finished. So even though I have this marked as this third wave high here, potentially another push up would not invalidate that. Though this is currently my best interpretation of it, so this is what we're currently looking for. So within this, I'm looking for evidence of this fourth wave. So really, as long as we stay above this 1769, even if we do see a retracement to the downside here, in a three-wave move, something like this, potentially coming back into some of these levels here, this 0.382 would actually be a retest of these highs. 50% would be a retest of these lows. Potentially, we could see this fifth wave to the upside. So this is going to be an important aspect of us looking for this continuation to the upside here. Basically, what I want to see is I want to see this additional wave play out here. Failure to form this could put us in the situation where within this structure, we just have a corrective move up and we could actually look for a continuation down. So we're going to discuss that in a second, but we're just going to talk about this bullish scenario first. So for as long as we maintain the 1767, potentially we could see additional structure develop here to the upside, looking for this fifth wave. It is possible because of how strong this third wave is, potentially this fifth wave could actually this fourth wave could be shallow here, and we could only potentially come back into this 236, which would be back into these highs here. So keeping an eye on this, if we do move down here in a three-wave move and then we break this high, what I would then be looking for potentially is this target, but this target would be slightly different if we only move down that low. It would be potentially towards this 1845 to this 1834. If we do move down to this 382, this 1839 to this 1857 would be the next thing we want to see play out. So we, just because we've come up here doesn't mean this fourth wave is guaranteed. We need to see evidence of it. So we want to see a three-wave move into here and then start to get five-wave structure to the upside, looking for this move. If we do develop up in a five-wave move like this, the next logical thing we'd be looking for would be this three-wave decline, potentially coming back and back testing this area once again. 50% off of this center line here would be towards the top end of these moves here, towards the 1764. And then basically the zone we wouldn't want to lose here is this 1719. As long as we're above that, potentially we can look for this to extend out to the upside. So basically what we're looking for here is the potential that this turns into a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So this zone we'd be looking to target for this third wave would actually be this 2023. But we don't, like I said, we don't have confirmed structure yet. We're going to go over some other things that we need to be watching. But if we do get a bigger push up here, this is going to be the zone we're looking for, this 2023. That would be a typical zone we look for, and then we'd want to see basically an additional three-wave move down here, and then this additional fifth wave to the upside, which could look to target out towards this zone of this 2094 to this 2049 range. So this is an important area because if we do actually get a move up there, this could actually push us up towards this 2092, which would be the 1.618 of this wide move here. So this is something we're looking out for. You know, it started well here, but this needs to progress. What we need to be cautious of is that this move, even if it does develop an additional leg up here as a 5-wave move, you know, this could be a C wave instead of a wave one, and then we could actually look to break down lower. So we're going to discuss that now. So we were talking about that possibility yesterday, that potentially within this structure, you know, we could have a corrective move that is not complete, and we're looking for this potential that this is a W, um, this is an X, and then we're looking for this as an ABC. So this still holds true in the sense that this could be a flat correction in this part of this move where this becomes ABC, ABC, so 3, 3, and then we're looking for a 5-wave move up here. But like I said, I don't think that it's completed, but you know, the subwave structure towards the bottom here is a little bit off. So what I'm currently doing is counting this as a diagonal, but you know, it is possible that we could, you know, potentially count this slightly different, where this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and it's actually completed already. My best interpretation would be that we have another 4th wave, but that's why we have that target area. We want to hold that zone. If we fail to hold it, then we need to be cautious, because it could actually be setting us up for a move like this, where this move here basically becomes a bigger WXY move to the downside, and we could look to push down towards this zone here. I can delete this now, we don't need that, towards the 1659 area. So keeping an eye on that. If we do break down after this 5-wave move, it's going to be important that we hold that key support box that we talked about, you know, within this, basically off of this current high. That key support is slightly different to what we had marked up. It would be here towards the zone of the 1715 would be the lowest we want to come. So anywhere within this zone, technically speaking, would suffice as a retracement for B wave or wave two. So if we do actually just break down here, you know, potentially we could look to find support between the 1755 to the 1715. However, we start to lose that 1715, you know, it becomes more likely that we are going to see continuation to the downside. So this is the one way of looking at this move, and that's looking at this as a flat, this is a X wave as another flat here potentially, and then looking for this as a Y wave to the downside, or even a C wave. So this move technically down could actually be a 3-wave move here, where we see, you know, something like a zigzag potentially, because we have flats within here. It wouldn't surprise me to see something simple like a zigzag, or it could become even more complex. So we're going to have to just keep an eye on this move and see exactly how this plays out. But this is still viable as a count that we could look to move down lower. So that would actually tie into coming down low into this key support and looking to actually retest the 786 towards the 1657. So keeping an eye on this, you know, if we do start to break down from these highs here, you know, potentially this could be something that's playing out. The other way we can look at this, if we want to look at it potentially as a corrective structure, is something like this, where basically we treat this as an A wave here. We treat this as a flat in itself, A, B, and C to the upside. So even if we do get that additional 4th and a 5th, a common target area for this as a flat correction for rejection is between this 1841 to this 1893. So if I just quickly layer up this breakout count on here, we can see that if we do have an additional leg up here into this zone, this would actually bring us right up into that 1841 to this, and if it extends out slightly higher, this 1873. But we can see that 5th wave target would actually be looking potentially to come back and retest this high. So that's something that, you know, if we do get this 4th, we could see this push to the upside. I am being mindful though that we did actually come back up into this channel, and you know, this channel is drawn off of these bottoms, projected onto the tops. We've come up and we've hit it, and we've got a reaction. So we need to be cautious. If it finds support, that's lovely. If it doesn't, it could be warning us that we could start to see either a 5-wave move to the downside here, or a 3-wave move, depending on whether this is a WXY or an ABC. There's multiple ways of counting this currently. This could be even more complex than what we've talked about here. You know, this could all potentially still be in an A wave. So we're going to have to be careful, because if this whole move is rather a wave 1, you know, potentially we could see, even if we form this as an ABC, that could then become an A, B, and then we get another move down as a C. So we're going to have to watch these zones and see how we react. If we do break down here, these are going to be the key areas that I'm looking for initially. Obviously, we're going to have to monitor this. There is still that potential of a much more bearish way of looking at this. We're going to go over that in a second, but this is what I'm keeping an eye on. If we fail to break back above this channel and we start to reject down here, potentially this 50% line of this channel could be an interesting area, retest there, and then look to push away. Or alternatively, this could be in that 5-wave structure, but we need to see how we react. If we do form a 5th wave here up, want to see that support come in and then look to push away. If we do break down here, either as a 3-wave move or a 5-wave move, then we could be looking down towards these lower targets. And like we were saying, once we start to lose this 1657 area, that becomes less likely that we're going to see continuation. But this would still fit. The problem within this is if we're going to count this as a wave 2, it is really getting quite large in comparison to this as a wave 1. So I would be more inclined to think that we're just having a shallow wave 2 here, if this is going to be the case, where this is a 1 and potentially be forming a wave 2, which this was our typical support box that we were looking for here. But if I just throw the 0.382 on here, we can see that 0.382 comes up towards this lower range here of the 1643. So this would actually have some confluence with this as a flat correction, and a flat correction that retraces to the 382 would not be uncommon. Typically speaking, they look to go between this 382 and this 50%. If it's going to be expand, or if it's going to be a regular flat, this potentially could be somewhere we actually look to target out if we're looking at this whole move here. So going to be keeping an eye on that. That is still a possibility. We need to just give it a bit of space. Unfortunately, with these things, there are a lot of different possibilities, so we need to see what plays out here. So this is basically the more bearish count here, and then I'm just going to go over it again, even though we went through it in the previous videos. Key support zones currently is the 1722 to the 1657, maintaining this higher level here. Potentially we could be looking to push away here in a bigger way. Alternatively, if this is a 5-wave move completed here, we've got this zone here, like I said, of this 1587 to this 1458. Basically, we can throw this 382 on here as well. The 1643, I'd extend that up. Potentially, if we have a flat correction here playing out, or a more complex correction. If we start to lose this 1458, though, it becomes less likely that we're actually going to see continuation. And then we'd have to start looking towards this lower range here of this 1406 to this 1206 region. And yeah, once we start to lose 1206, it starts to become less likely that we're going to see this continuation. So primarily, for as long as we stay above this 1657, we can still look for that bullish potential. But the structure is worrying me a little bit, and I want to see it prove itself. So if we lose this low of the 1686, basically what we'd be looking for is potential to come back into that support zone again, in my opinion. And whether we maintain this lower range of 1656 and how we exactly break down here, potentially that would be the key difference in determining which way we are looking at this move. But yeah, that'll be the zone. If we do lose this low, that'll be looking to find support. Failing that, it would be down here in this lower green box area towards the 1643 to this 1458. So keep an eye on those two zones. That's going to be the primary count at the moment. Still looking for that potential, but we have talked about it previously. We need to be aware that there is still that possibility that we complete this whole move up here as a 5-wave, and that we actually have a bigger 3-wave move to the downside that's developing, which could come back down into that lower support zone, looking to actually test this lower area, this 1406 to this 1206, and potentially this channel, or alternatively this diagonal line that we have here to the upside, potentially looking to come back into this. There is also still that gap here from when we came up, so it wouldn't be unrealistic to think that we could see a move down here. The question is, once we start to break down, if it starts to be too impulsive, is it going to stop there? That'll be the next thing. So we're going to have to monitor the key support zones within that. So for as long as we actually stay below this 1857, though, we need to be cautious that we don't have a more bearish alternative here. And basically what we were talking about yesterday was looking for that breakdown. And we're looking for something like this, where this becomes a 1-2, 1-2, but we actually came back above this wave 2 high. So that's no longer valid. So it would still, however, be valid in this manner. So I'm keeping an eye on this if we do break down in a bigger way here. What we could see is that this is actually a 5-wave move down here. this is playing out as a flat correction to the upside, and then we could actually see a deeper wave 3 play out. The thing is, within this is 1618 wouldn't give us much space, but what is common when we get a wave 2 as a flat, if it is going to develop in an impulse, is rather a move towards this lower zone here of this 2.618. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this, because typically speaking, the moves after a flat correction are quite violent. So if we do start to see a much bigger breakdown here and we actually look to break down deeper, potentially that could actually look to push us down towards this 2618 for this wave 3. So what we'd be typically looking for is this 1618, but if it does break down deeper, potentially this wave 3 could be here, which could look to actually push us down past this low point here and potentially, look to invalidate this as a 1 and a 2 to the upside. So this is going to be the key thing here. Primarily, I'm just keeping it on this 1618 here, but this if we take this 1857, it invalidates this count completely. But until it does, we need to be aware that this is still possible. We could still see a move back down here, whether that's towards this 1-to-1 at the 1700 area. So also keep an eye on that. If this move is being potentially counted wrong, and this is WX, this is A, B, and C, potentially this 1-to-1 would be a target area, the 1700, which actually bring us back into the support zone. So, either way, we still need to be cautious. Until we actually cross 1857, this more bearish alternative is available if we do break down in a bigger 5-wave structure past the 1626, and we'll have to watch the sub-wave counts of this move if it does break down there, because like I said, typically these can move up towards this 2.618 if it is going to be a flat in a wave 2. So keep an eye on that if we do break down deeper. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. As well as that, there are affiliate links for both Primex, BT, and BYBIT down there. Both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. Check them out for yourself. If you don't have an account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel. We do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.